Hi, everybody. It's Katie McDonald with b.nourished, and today we're talking about movement, exercise. We have all sorts of words for it, and some of us might have gym traumas, right? Those not getting picked on the team and kickball, and what was that one where they throw the ball at you? I forget, but I used to get the ball thrown at me a lot. What is that? All right, you guys will tell me. The bottom line is it's a non-negotiable. We got to move our bodies. We have big dreams. We have big goals for ourselves. We have a really vibrant life. We want to live for a very long time. So the fact is, moving our body is non-negotiable. It's got to happen. So the how it's got to happen, well, there's a lot of choice there. The where, we're going to discuss that too. And the why, okay, this is obvious. Here's the thing. I've been coaching for 12 years and I coach highly accomplished achievers, right? They know how to get things done. They absolutely do. That's unstoppable, impressive, just awesome feats every single day. And we all know what we have to do. And we know that being a human being means that we have a human body that requires maintenance. And so there's no debate about whether we need to work out or not. And yet every single day, I mean, that's just common sense, and it's science backed, and it's just accepted knowledge that everybody has. However, we're still having that debate every day for many of us. Do I work out? Do I not work out? The fact is we can't wait for the mood, and we definitely can't wait for the motivation. They're fickle lovers. We can't rely when they're going to come. We can't wait for this wave of just, oh, okay, right? Because then we're going to be very inconsistent. We're going to have this mental anguish and debate day in and day out about whether we're actually going to exercise. So right now, today, join me in the common knowledge of we need to move our bodies, period. Like absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, so that's an accepted. So let's stop the debate. Let's stop that mental anguish and distraction about whether we're actually going to work out or not. The question is, how are we going to make it happen? Right? Where are we going to do? What are we going to do? Okay, but whether we're going to, not a question. So let's talk about the why. We know we've got to move our bodies. We require it. We need the lubrication. We need the in order to feel youthful and energized, we've got to be able to, there's tons of health benefits. I'm not a personal trainer, don't pretend to be one. I have deep respect for that field. The fact is, we know we've got to be able to fight inflammation. And one of the ways that we do that is, of course, through our food, but also whether we're moving our bodies, we stay youthful and agile. And we're going to decrease the likelihood for disease and all the other stuff. And we get to breathe, right? Learn how to breathe and to strengthen ourselves, our resiliency. And by the way, we're in a pandemic. So immune system is absolutely vital, and exercise is going to fortify us. So let's just say we all get the why. So the where, well, that's really up to you. I want you to work out wherever you're going to work out. The muscle we're working is consistency. I'm going to say that one again because I really want this to sink in. The muscle we are working is consistency. So not perfectionism, not becoming a triathlon, unless that's your thing, and go for it, right? But the where we work out, well, we can work out from home. We can work out in some cases in a gym right now. We can work out by going for a walk. I mean, the variety of the locations of where we work out. But the fact is, we've got to pick the where that's going to make sure we're doing it every single day. What I ask my clients to do is to identify any possible obstacle, any excuse, anything that could be standing in the way of you moving your body or not moving your body. So let's look at it. Oh, well, I slept in. Okay, let's just do a brain dump of all the possible excuses we might come up with, all the possible obstacles that we might have, and then actually craft a plan for each one. Well, what happens if I wake up late? First of all, we got to look at that, right? But let's say you had a really rough night. Didn't sleep well, something was going on, the kids were up, the dog, I don't know what it was, but you didn't sleep well. Okay, good to know. Well, that means it's even more important that you move your body. But the how might be different. The what you do might be different. So it might mean that you're actually going to go for a walk versus a run. So we want to be able to pivot. What we don't change is our commitment to actually moving our body, but what we can change is how we do it. So we might choose a gentler form. I had a rough night the other night. My dog is elderly. She needed a lot of care. She was up and down all night, which meant I was up and down all night. So when I woke up, if I had asked myself, do I feel like moving my body? No, I feel like curling up in a ball right now because I didn't get the sleep that I needed. So I took into consideration, I opened my planner, took into consideration, wow, I'm still need to move my body. I want to move my body. I like that version of me. I like the mental clarity that comes from that. I like the sense of vitality. I need energy. The fact that I didn't sleep means that my need for energy is even more. So the very thing that you're going to blow off, exercise is almost always that low-hanging fruit of what we let go of when things are busy. And it's actually the very thing that we need in order to have the stamina to do what we want to do. And if we're compromised, like that night when I didn't get enough sleep, it's like, okay, well, I need to move my body, but I'm going to move it differently. So I actually, instead of the workout that I was going to do, I did a 30-minute yoga session. That's it. I didn't let go of the promise and the responsibility for moving my body, but I pivoted and changed and altered it out of self-respect. And still, again, not debating whether I was going to do it. So I liberated my mind from that anguish of indecision and just said, okay, well, now what? And it really felt like what it was, which was an act of self-care and self-love. So of course, exercise is the very definition of that. That's one of the ways we make an investment in our longevity and in our well-being and in our self-esteem and confidence and everything else. But let's get a little bit more into the how, because we're all working with the assumption we know we need to move our bodies, but how do we actually make it happen? There are a number of ways. One is we let go of the whatever definition we have of exercise and we recreate it. We reframe it in a way that works for us. I don't care what it is that you tell yourself, but it needs to be different than whatever. If you're using the word exercise and you get the eye roll and the resistance, it's like, okay, we need to come up with a new word. When I don't feel like working out or moving my body, whatever term you want to use, when I don't feel like it, I actually just reframe it and be like, hey, this isn't another thing in my to-do list. It's actually, I am going so that I can be more creative in the work that I'm doing. I know I hook it with the very thing that I want in my life. Oh, I want more energy. So I'm going to go get more energy. That's what I tell myself, and that's what I encourage my clients. What is it that you really want? Think about that one word, right? Whatever that one word is, you might use that when you use one word to define what the next 90 days are going to be like. And that resides in my planner, and lots of what the tools that I use with my clients is picking that one word that feels juicy and evasive and elusive, but really like what you want in your life, then use that. So if your one word might be energy, then, oh, well, I'm going to go get some energy. If your one word is badass, which a lot of my clients love, and that was one of my first one words, it's like, okay, well, what would a badass do? A badass would go and move her body because she'd feel really strong. So use whatever you need to do, but reframe it so that it's not just an obligation where that gets an eye roll and resistance, but it actually is something you're looking forward to. So it's the same thing. We're just reframing it so that we approach it differently. And the next thing is to say that perfectionism is not what we're working. As I said, consistency is the objective here. To work out in a consistent basis, to move our body in a consistent basis is more important than doing that hour-long, like hardcore workout. So the mindset often for high achievers and those that lean into the perfectionism a little bit, that dabble on that line, the mindset is, this is what a workout is. A workout is an hour where I'm dripping with sweat. I went, did this particular workout and it's so fierce and so hardcore. And that is what a workout is. And it has to be an hour. It needs to be in the gym. Like we have these ideas that are so limiting about what that definition is. And then when we can't do it because we can't get to our gym because of COVID, or we can't do it because we had a rough night of not sleeping, or we've got a particularly busy day. And then what do? We say, this is a workout. It takes an hour. Plus the driving to and from, or whatever the prep is, then the shower and the cleaning up after, and like all this stuff. And then we say, well, forget it. I can't do that today. So we do nothing. So that I see over and over again, that tendency towards perfectionism when it comes to our workouts. So the bottom line is, if instead we have a different definition of what that workout is. It's like, hey, I'm going to move my body and I'm going to do it for 30 minutes, right? What we're talking about is 30 minutes every day, ideally, but I like to do like a 6 day. Say I'm committed to doing it for 5 or 6 days a week. The rest are bonus. If I do it for those other 1 or 2 days, then yay, look at me. But I like to have an escape route. I like to have that one option to be like, yeah, I'm not going to, I have the option to not work out that day. I always end up doing it, but it might be in a totally different way. But I love the idea of having that escape route. So 5 to 7, doing it 5 to 6 days a week, letting that seventh day, whatever day that is, just give yourself an out, gives us some peace of mind. And we'll say 30 minutes, 30 minutes out of an entire day. Really? That's all we're asking? Like, I know it feels huge, but the fact is you're going to be more energized, more creative, more resilient, more immune resistant. Like, it's going to actually generate more time. So let's just decide that this is one of the main ways that we can generate more time, more energy, more vitality. Everything that we want, we say we want, we actually can get by doing the things that we don't want to do, like exercise. So the other thing is we simply say, okay, 30 minutes, good, I can do that. Right? We need to set ourselves up for success. So one of the ways that we do that is we commit to a time frame. And it's like, I don't care what form it's going to take, but it's going to be 30 minutes. I love that mindset because it gives me a whole lot of room. And I love checking in with myself and being like, hey, we're not debating whether I'm going to move for 30 minutes or not, but I am going to have a lot of creativity and choice about what that looks like. So I actually have a page in my planner devoted to all different types of exercise and movement. So when I'm feeling a little uninspired, can't think of something that's super exciting, then I'll go through that list and be like, oh yeah, that's a good one. I forgot about that. I could do that. So it's really important to, on the one hand, plan. So the plan is I'm working out for 30 minutes, 6 days a week. And then the next level plan, when you're doing your weekly planning, I would encourage you to actually plan out your workout. So there's two different ways. You can plan out your workout and be like, yeah, I want to lift weights 3 days a week, and I want to do cardio the other days, and I want to do this specific cardio. Great. Or you can simply say, I'm going to do cardio, and whatever form that takes, I'll decide in the morning. So I play around with both. Right now I'm in a totally like, what's the weather like? So if the weather allows for me to get outside, that's where I'm going no matter what. That will always be the case. And then I'm keeping the weightlifting consistent because I really like it's partly I've got to keep my muscles strong. I don't want to, as I age, I want to make sure I'm stronger and stronger. And I really love being ripped or wanting to be ripped, and just knowing that I just am strengthening myself. I love feeling strong, and the weightlifting does that for me. So you got to do you, but doing you requires that you move your body. So the other way is when I talked about setting ourselves up, the how. We simply can put our clothes out. That's a no-brainer. We talk about that. We put our clothes out the night before. I always do. Put my clothes out so that when I wake up, I'm switching right into my workout clothes. There's, again, no debate. Not debating. Once I'm in those clothes, there's no way I'm not going to do anything. Like it just won't. But I get into those clothes and then I step into that identity. Oh yeah, I'm an athlete right now, right? I may be walking for 30 minutes. I'm an athlete. That's the mindset I have. And the thing about the walking is, or anything that's so simple, it doesn't cost money, whatever that is, we tend to dismiss it because it's easy, because there aren't any obstacles, usually, unless there's some blizzard or whatever else, but there are very few obstacles to walking. We tend to diminish what's easy. Back to that idea that a workout has to be super hardcore. You know what the fact is? Again, we're holding ourselves to the criteria of moving our bodies, and that can come in any form. And a walk is super powerful. And it's also a twofer. When I'm walking, actually a threefer maybe. When I'm walking, I sometimes am having a meeting, got my AirPods on, and I'm having a meeting, a casual enough meeting that I can do that where I'm walking. I am calling girlfriends and people, family members, people that I'm really missing and wanting to connect with. Sometimes I'm listening to a book on tape. No matter what, if I'm walking for an hour, which is what I really like to do, if I'm the first half hour is I'm engaging with content or people, And the second half hour, or sometimes it's the first, I change, but I devote half an hour to the just being in my own company, paying attention, looking around, because I see it also not only as strengthening my body and my social connections, but strengthening the relationship I have with myself, with nature, and with my spiritual life. So for me, exercise, especially when it's outside, is a spiritual practice. So I'm telling myself, whether I'm in the mood, whether I'm resistant or not, doesn't matter. I'm not consulting that. I'm consulting my future self that says, hey, I love the identity of being an athlete. I love feeling spiritually grounded in my body, and I do that through moving my body. So it's really a wonderful way to start identifying it differently, no matter what the traumas of, whatever moving our bodies felt like before, or exercise, whatever shame stories we have, or whatever feeling of failure, or the glory days when we used to be really fit and now we're not, and all we're doing is comparing ourselves. Let it all go. Simply show up. There's a book called Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg, and he's a behavioral psychologist. And I've actually referenced him, or scientist. I'm not sure if he's a psychologist, but I've referenced his work before. And what he talks about is actually the act of just putting your sneakers on. The first 30 seconds is what we resist most. So put your sneakers on, or put your gym clothes on, put your workout clothes on, do whatever it is that's actually going to signify you know what I'm talking about. It's those first few minutes where it's like, oh, it's resistance is just an absolute block, a brick wall. And going from that feels like just like a Titanic kind of, turning the Titanic around. That's not a good example, but you know what I mean. It feels massive, like a massive undertaking, a heavy burden. So what I would encourage you to do is just put your sneakers on. Take that one act. You don't have to do anything after that point. You're going to, by the way. This is how I get all my clients to do things when there's resistance. Like, just take that first step and then you're off the hook. You don't have to do anything. You know what happens? We want to do it then. We've actually crossed over from the resistance to starting, to beginning. That's it. And if 30 minutes feels like too much, start with 10 minutes. Again, the muscle we're working is consistency. It's more important that you're doing something with regularity than you're doing it in that hour explosion. I don't know a lot of people that have that hour, 2 hours, plus all on the other side of getting those workouts in. Our lives are really compromised for a lot of us. Our lives are very crowded right now. So I'm asking you to simply commit to the act of moving your body in a consistent way, in a set time frame. Decide once. And by the way, celebrate the heck out of it. You go for that 10-minute walk, or you stretch for 10 minutes. Yay. Like, really, one of the most effective ways to create more success is to celebrate the success you have. Really, just imagine that you're on the sidelines of watching some child play soccer, like when they're little and they're running around and they're playing soccer and the ball is like bigger than they are. It's hysterical. And yet we are thrilled and delighted and cheering and screaming and, just so excited about their success and progress and their sense of play. Well, what about us? We get to do the same thing. Just because we're grown up doesn't mean we don't want to be celebrated anymore, or that we don't need to cheer and congratulate our progress. And by the way, we create more. Who isn't going to do something that makes us feel good? So I want you to, part of the how of exercising is when you're done, celebrate the heck out of yourself. There are a lot of people who aren't doing it. And yet there you are. And you used to be the person maybe that wasn't doing it or wasn't doing it consistently. So let's celebrate that too. It can be fun. No matter what the resistance is, challenge yourself to have fun. And it sounds funny to challenge yourself to have fun, but sometimes that's what it is, because we have these ideas of what exercise might be. But I got to tell you, it can come in so many different forms. Sometimes in warmer weather, I'm throwing myself on my paddleboard and I'm like, yay, well, that's my exercise. Oh, and by the way, it's a ton of fun. It happens to be a workout, right? Sometimes I'll just have it be extra because I feel like it. But a lot of times it's like, yeah, kayaking, whatever it is, write this list of all these different ways. And if you're having trouble coming up with ideas, then I want you to think about what you did as a child. Did you do jump rope? Did you love to play tennis? What is it? Those things are going to give indications as to what you really enjoy. And you get to have fun. If you've got to do something, have fun doing it. Find a way to have fun. And even if the act itself feels hard, then make the accomplishment and the finishing it really fun. Back to that point of feeling really, really successful. I believe in you. And I believe in your commitment to your own well being. If you've been skimping in this way, stop. Just stop. Really, like, stop. Don't, it's just not a good strategy. It's not a good strategy personally. It's not a good strategy professionally. It's compromising your ability to endure this long haul. And it is a long haul. So let's strengthen ourselves. Let's fortify ourselves. Let's really dig deep in and commit to the consistency. Commit to showing up for yourself and making yourself stronger. That's all. And in the times that you don't, it's not quite the workout you wanted, or you didn't think you sweat enough, stop. Just stop those stories and instead be like, yay, look at me, yay, me. Right? We need that. That's how we change and grow, with joy and pleasure and delight and a sense of self-discipline that doesn't feel suffocating, but actually, in fact, is liberating. That's right. Self-discipline is liberating. I'm here for you. Don't ever hesitate to reach out. You're more than welcome to go onto my website, b.nourished.com, and schedule a complimentary session. You're also, I'm just taking 5 more clients for this year. So if you've thought about working with me, I would encourage you to jump on and schedule that time. And you can also sign up for my newsletter. And there's tons of tips. I have this really fun, yummy resource guide that I created because so many people are asking me, what are those tools and resources and tips? And they're all right there. So I truly hope that you feel nourished by this time together. And by the way, move. Just move. Thank you.